Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. The election season for Tullahoma is underway. We have 2 seats on the Board of Aldermen that are up for filling, and we have only 1 incumbent. So there are 3 challenges, but we have 4 people running and we have 2 seats. Remember that we don't do a primary, so whatever the top 2 voters are the ones that were seated. Last week we talked to Jesse Duncan and Daniel Berry, and today we want to complete the slate. We have Rupa Blackwell and Stephen Landers, and they're the remaining 2. So those are the 4 candidates, and you have to choose 2. Before we get into that, let me remind you that registration to vote closes on the 1st, so I hope you're already registered. And early voting will be from July the 12th to the 27th, and the election itself is on Thursday, August 1st. So that's the preliminaries. Let's take a short commercial break and we'll talk to the candidates.
Barnett here at Russell Barnett Chevrolet GMC in Winchester. Check out the 2019 Chevrolet Impala, up to 19% off original MSRP. That's Russell Barnett Chevrolet GMC on the bypass in Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, why buy anywhere else?
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with our 2 candidates for the Tullahoma Board of Mayor and Aldermen. They are Stephen Landers and Rupa Blackwell, and so we want to see what they have to say to you. And I think Stephen has been around longer and has even tried for office a time or 2. So we should be fairly familiar with him, but let's give him a chance to update you in case you're not quite sure who he is. Stephen, tell them who you are and how'd you get here?
Well, I grew up here in Tullahoma. I'm homegrown. Went to school here. I'm an Eagle Scout. I worked for 28 years. My mom and dad are deceased. My wife is deceased too. But my father was an electrical engineer at AEDC, and my mother was a nurse. My father worked there at AEDC for 35 years, and I worked for 28 years, making baseball bats and softballs and other stuff.
Did they, were you there when they closed? Did they?
Yes, I was there.
They moved out from under you, huh?
Well, Clinton signed NAFTA, and there went my job to China and Canada.
Ah, yeah.
But I enjoyed the people, working with the people, and we did bicycle parts. We had several bats in the World Series. In fact, I found a photograph in Sports Illustrated that Bill Butner just passed away, and he's famous for missing baseball on first base in the World Series. And it showed that he had a baseball bat from Worth. So I got that. I'm going to put that.
You saved that picture.
I'm going to save that.
Okay. Tell us, what have you got in mind for the city? Why are you running?
I'm running again because I want to get back to Tullahoma what they've given to me, which is a nice place to live and nice jobs. And I worked at the elementary school too for several years, and I enjoyed doing that. And we have good schools and good teachers in Tullahoma. We are run by, a lot of the principals are nice, and then we have a new superintendent, and he's done well. And I think we need to take care of the senior citizens in Tullahoma and make.
What are you going to add? What are you going to do for the senior citizens?
Well, no, I'm going to go to the senior citizen place and just talk to them and see what their problems are. I know we have several senior citizen apartments around here. I think we're building a new one. I'm not sure.
Getting a new one,
over there on Cedar Lane.
Yeah, they haven't said much about it, but there's a lot of ground moving going on. So. Okay. One of your comments was that you wanted to press industrial development or economic development, whichever we call it. What have you got in mind there?
We just need to look for other jobs and get jobs here and for people to work with and be able to stay here.
Well, do you have anything in particular in mind in terms of the way you go about it, or who's going to do what to whom?
Not right now.
Not right now?
So, we just need new jobs, like the young people come here and be able to stay. And in fact, I'm sure Tullahoma is a nice town, and Franklin, Tennessee has been just shown that they were a nice town too. In fact, yesterday I mowed yards for some extra money, and I had a brand new lawnmower yesterday. Well, it was a used lawnmower, and had them use it. I sort of put it back together. Had somebody else put it back together, and just to show we still have a lot of nice people here. I was having trouble mowing the very front yard. Probably if I didn't have any help, I'd probably still doing it now. So, but a lady from across the street, this was over by Hogan Street, came over, and she had a riding lawnmower, and she signaled to me, said, "I'll mow it for you. I'll mow it for you." So I just sat there and as it's sort of like paying forward, one time, and several people have done that for me, and this is the first time somebody mowed the yard for me. So she mowed the yard, and I said, "Thank you," and I said, I'm doing this for money. And she goes, "You can keep the money."
Oh, that's sweet.
And found out her husband is in the Air Force and works in Nashville. Asked her name, Tracy Miller is her name. And I said, it's good therapy. And she goes, yeah, I enjoy doing it. So this is the first time I ever got in. And I did the backyard, didn't have any trouble with that, but the very front yard I'd still be doing by now.
What kind of jobs would you like to see come to town?
Industry like we're a sports town. Maybe we already have where it became Rollins. Maybe we can get an expansion on that. And we used to do bicycle parts at Worth, and
Used to do what parts?
bicycle parts.
Okay.
And we don't, the piece fell out of it, or it cost too much to replace it, and that's what happened. But I enjoyed doing it. I was the one that was on there. Nobody else wanted to do it. So, but eventually we had several machines to cut the aluminum and stuff, and I did that about all day. But hadn't got a lot of overtime to do it. We didn't have a union there, so.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and go some more.
The glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron. And chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory. And marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game.
The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Ford of Winchester. Check out the 2018 Ford Taurus, yours today for $24,995. That's Russell Barnett Ford on 41A in Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
We're talking today, folks, with the candidates for election to the Tullahoma Board of Mayor and Alderman. Remind you that we have 2 seats coming available. We have 4 candidates. We talked to 2 of them a week or so ago. Jackie Duncan, who's running for re-election, and Daniel Berry. And so today we've got the other 2 in the person of Stephen Landers and Rupa Blackwell. And we've just heard from Stephen in terms of what he hopes to see happen if he gets elected. So let's give Rupa a shot. Tell the folks who you are and why you're running and stuff like that.
Absolutely. My name is Rupa Blackwell. I was born and raised here in Tullahoma. My parents moved here in 1977, which they celebrated, I think, their 42nd year living here a couple weeks ago. My parents, when they moved here, my dad's a physician. My mom was a nurse at the time when she moved here, went to nursing school at Motlow. And they instilled in me a deep belief in service of our community. So upon graduation in 1999, I went to college. And I actually entered the nonprofit field like my mother. She started helping at the Trinity Adult Daycare Center. I don't know if y'all know which one that is, but my mom helped to start that, and she really, honestly, was a huge influence in my life. And because of that, I started doing my job, which is fundraising and events production for large nonprofits.
You're basically independent. You're not. Are you working for somebody in particular?
I work for contracts because I'll fill you in on that story. So moving here, my husband and I, when we decided to move here to live in Tullahoma, we were working in Los Angeles, and to be honest, it was really expensive. I was working 80-hour weeks. We had a daughter, and we decided we were exhausted, tired, and wanted to move back home. He's not from here. He's from small town Louisiana. But when we came and visited Tullahoma, we saw that it had exactly what we wanted. It was quiet, it was affordable, we had great school system, and it had lots of amenities for us as a family. So we moved back here. It allowed me to not have to work full time. I do still pick up contract work. So I'll work for Cycle for Survival, is an event that is put on by Memorial Sloan Kettering. I produce sometimes AIDS Life Cycle. For a while I was the interim director of the United Way here while we found another director at the United Way Coffee in Moore County. But yeah, I pick up contract work mainly so that I can spend my time volunteering here in the community, which has been amazing. So in moving back here, yeah, I was able to cut back my work schedule, stay home a bit more with my daughter, and be more involved with my family and volunteer in a community.
Okay. When did you move back?
2016, January.
16, oh.
End of January 2016.
Well, you're still getting reacquainted with the community.
Well, I was thankful that I was able to jump in head first. So I sit on the Tullahoma Arts Center board, the Tullahoma Daycare Center board, other nonprofits that I work with as well. I helped with the Arts Alive Festival, and now I sit on the Planning Commission and have for almost 6 months, and it has been eye-opening, that is for sure. So, yeah, that's been cool. Okay.
Well, what is it you want to do for Tullahoma?
What is it that I want to do for Tullahoma? Well, one of the things I say is whenever I say what I want to do, my goal has been to actually go out there and talk to people and find out what they want from Tullahoma. Thankfully, some of the things that I initially proposed are things that resonate with our community. I've been talking to them about expanding our bike pathways and our sidewalks.
Are you already talking to people?
Oh yeah, I've knocked 700 doors at this point.
Right.
And yeah, oh yeah. Walking around 7 months pregnant, knocking on doors. It's been great in the summer heat. Okay. But yeah, I've been knocking on doors probably about 4 evenings a week and during the weekends, and chatting with people. I think the best way that you can learn from people is to actually go to where they're at, meet them, and find out what's important to them. Sidewalks to schools. I think that a lot of us, and I hear from parents, this is from parents a lot of times, but I'm also hearing it from people who have kids who've graduated or who are retired. Sidewalks and bike paths.
Sidewalks have always been, well, Tullahoma basically doesn't have a sidewalk system.
Yes.
We've been talking about that for years,
yes.
And not that much gets done.
Yes. Well, so, and it's a funding issue, right? So if you look at it, I know that Jennifer Moody, our city administrator, has been looking into grant funding for sidewalks and bike paths and a way of connecting. There's actually a multi-phase plan to connect Tullahoma with that type of mobility. And I think it's important. I think it's a safety concern, especially as we continue to grow. I know that was it August or maybe September of last year, a kid was hit on their way on Avoca to Robert E. Lee. And that just shouldn't be happening. So that's one of the things I want to make sure that I support. Our roadways and our actual driving infrastructure is something I think that we can improve on. And I also want to work on listening to our businesses that say they don't want to come to Tullahoma, finding out why, and making sure we are addressing their concerns.
What is it you'd like to change? Anything in particular that you'd like to see?
I think change is a weird word I wouldn't use for that. I think more than anything, continue to grow and expand on is what I see. Tullahoma is a great town. I want to see us get better sidewalks, get better bike paths. I want to see different types of industry coming into our town. Industry that where if my daughter wants to come back here one day, she'll have a good job that she can come to, one where she can have her family and be able to raise her family with. Okay.
Well, interestingly, all of the candidates have listed economic development, yeah. But do you have any particular ideas on how to go about that, or who to go chasing?
Yeah, I've got a few different ideas, and I think that it's coming from so I sat in this meeting recently where people were talking about the industrial board and the Tullahoma Area Economic Development commission actually, and what types of feedback they've been getting from people when they say, hey, I'm not going to move back here. Here's the reason why. And what they've heard is, what I hear from them, from the people who are telling us this, is property taxes, that they want to see that downtown Jackson Street, that they want to see the blighted properties cleaned up that are on there, the commercial properties that have been sitting on the market for a long time, and that they want, the same thing that we want. They want amenities for their people who they'll hire to be able to enjoy. Same things I'm talking about, sidewalks. And our splash island is great because, trust me, as a mom, it makes my life a lot easier in the summer to have that type of thing and to raise a family here. But I think that we need to listen to their concerns and be able to address them as much as possible with the funding that we have. So,
the economic development side of it is of course critical, and you have mentioned 2 or 3 times Tullahoma continued to grow, but it hasn't really grown all that much in recent years. And I don't know, I'm not sure anybody around really wants it to grow.
Well, I wanted to have better jobs for my kid one day at some point.
You're saying you want it to grow?
I don't think.
Grow how?
I think that regardless of whether we want it to grow, at some point, we're going to see some growth. We're seeing it now. We're seeing development, at least. We're seeing houses being built. We're seeing some industry coming in, some retail shops coming in, which I'd like to see more industry coming in. But we are seeing people moving.
You'd like to see a little more emphasis on industry rather than retail?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, jobs with pathway to advancement opportunities. Absolutely.
Jobs being higher paying jobs.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You've served on the planning commission, or maybe you still are.
Yeah, I am for 6 months. For the past 6 months, I think I started in November, maybe of last year. Yeah, November of this past year, and it's fascinating, and I'm excited that I serve on it. My old job, before I moved here, I worked a lot with planning commissions. I worked a lot with cities, their jurisdictions, because I produced large-scale events that really built little tiny towns and moved them as bikers came into them and moved on past them. It's hard to describe exactly, but it made me fascinated with the way cities work and how to not disrupt from the job standpoint, not to disrupt their infrastructure, not to make an impact on their community while still being able to fundraise within it with the event that I'm producing. And seeing it from this side on the Planning Commission has been even more enlightening, because I see the types of legalities that the cities encounter when they're enforcing their codes, making their codes, looking at their zoning, etc. Oh, I need some water.
Is anybody, a substantial portion of the time, we have a mess in the downtown area with traffic. We got one U.S. and one state highway intersecting here and going right through the middle of town. Did you guys ever talk about that?
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
I mean, so if you look at what, again, the city administrator and the planning commission, we've had 2 open meetings recently. We've had a mobility meeting that actually a lot of people came to. Our state representative was there. I think our state senator was there. And there was a lot of actual input from community members who came specifically to tell TDOT, here's where we're having issues with mobility. Here are things that we would like to have change. And they are doing a study, per my understanding, that will come back and say, here's what the proposals are, which I think is a fabulous start. We also looked at the streetscape, which is less of what you're talking about. But yeah, it looks like it's being looked into, and I hope that it continues to be.
Are you going to stay on the Planning Commission? Is that for a term?
Well, if you're an alderman, yeah. If I lose this election, I'm absolutely staying on the Planning Commission. But if I win this election, per my understanding, 2 aldermen sit on the Planning Commission right now: Ray Noes and Jimmy Blanks, right? So 2 aldermen have to sit on the Planning Commission. If I were to be elected, 2 aldermen would have to stay on the Planning Commission. I'm not sure how they would handle that, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you went on, somebody would have to come off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, folks, we are running out of time. Let's take a short commercial break and wrap up.
Russell Barnett Hometown Auto Rental has proudly served your auto rental for over 30 years. Check out this huge selection to choose from. Small car, mid-size car, full-size car, crossover vehicle, SUV, minivan, pickup trucks, 12 and 15 passenger vans. Whether big or small, Russell Barnett Hometown Auto Rental has them all. Stop by our 2 locations to serve you, Tullahoma and in Winchester. And remember, my question is, why rent anywhere else?
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
We're back, folks. We've been talking today with 2 candidates for the Tullahoma Board of Mayor and Alderman. They are Rupa Blackwell and Stephen Landers. And we want to give them a chance to just say a brief word to you on why it should be them. Rupa, let's go with you.
All right. So since moving back to Tullahoma about 3 years ago, I have specifically worked and started believing in service in our community. I threw myself in serving on a few nonprofit boards as well as with the Planning Commission. And because of my experiences with the service, I'm running for alderman. I'm asking for your vote because I believe an alderman should be a servant leader in our community, someone who actively listens to our community, will engage them, will proudly and work hard to actually represent their needs. And that's what my promise is to you, is that I want to be your servant leader, and I'm asking for your vote on August 1st, or hopefully in early voting, which starts July 12th. So, yes, Rupa Blackwell, and I'm running for alderman.
Okay. All right, Stephen?
Yes, please vote for me. And like Rupa said, early voting starts July 12th, and the election's August 1st. We do need to make sure to help the young people come back to Tullahoma. We have a lot of recreation areas here, and we need to really watch the bicycle rules. A lot of people ride on the sidewalk. They need to ride with traffic and just watch the cars. And we need new jobs here in Tullahoma. And I go to all the athletic games, and maybe I missed one football game this year. We had a good season. We had good schools here in Tullahoma and good teachers, and we have a good board. I wanted to get on the board and help the city of Tullahoma, which has helped me get through school. And Tullahoma is a nice place to live at.
Well, folks, I think we've had all the candidates have talked about better jobs. We, I guess, need to do that, but we haven't. It's hard to find somebody who's really got a definite plan for making that happen. So maybe we're going to see a change in that after the election. So with that, I want to thank both of you for taking time to join us, and you have our best wishes, and we'll look forward to the results. Again, remind you folks that we have 4 candidates. 2 will be elected and be the top 2 vote getters. So that's your job, is to decide who that is. So meanwhile, I want to thank you for inviting us into your parlor, and we will see you next time.